When a client comes to me and wants to talk about beginning franchising a business, one of the things we talk about first, obviously, is the preparation of a franchise disclosure document, an FDD. And when we're doing that, one of the things to talk about is the 15 what we call registration states. There are certain states that once your FDD is completed, require you to go to that state's government and basically get approval to offer the FDD to customers in that state. And there's a lot of variation between the different registration states. Some of them are very hard and kind of expensive to comply with. Others are easy. It's just a matter of submitting a fee, and they essentially put your FDD in a drawer and make sure that you follow the rules. As far as the hard states go, Maryland, Illinois, and Virginia are probably the top three. Those are the ones where you're going to spend the most money and the most time and maybe aggravation to get registered in those states. California is kind of a middle-of-the-road state. It depends somewhat on what type of franchise you are. If you're a medical sort of a franchise, you're probably going to spend a little bit more money registering in California than you would otherwise. And in California, it also depends somewhat on which reviewer you get. Some of the different examiners are more strict than some of the other ones. Washington is another registration state. They're particularly focused on financials. If your franchise is young or doesn't have a lot of assets, you can look at possibly being required to post a bond or not take the initial franchise fee until you've provided most of the initial or possibly all of the initial franchise services that you're going to provide as a franchisor. And there are some other states that are picky about those financials as well, so that's an issue to be aware of. New York is not usually difficult to get registered in, but it takes a long time. There are two different governmental entities that need to look at your franchise if you're going to register in New York. So you could be looking at 3 to 6 months before you get qualified to operate in New York, even if everything otherwise goes fine. On the spectrum of the easier states, you have North and South Dakota, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Oregon. Oregon is so straightforward. It's basically just filing a form and sometimes isn't even considered a registration state. And then there are some states that kind of fall in the middle. Don't take as much time, but do require a little bit of effort. That would probably include Hawaii, Minnesota, and Rhode Island. These are all things to consider when you're rolling out your franchise. A small franchisor in particular will probably have limited budget, and we work with our clients to make sure that when they go and decide to register in the different states, that they're making decisions that will help their growth, that will fit their budget, and ensure their long-term success.